and welcome to Clay to Canopy, the show where I attempt to make just about everything from the ground up. In this video, I'm going to be making a buffet table slash cat hideaway for my Woodland Feast. So come on, let's do this. Buffet cabinet slash table thingy, I don't know what to call it. It's basically something that you would find in a dining room behind your dining table that you would store your serviceware, your dishes, that kind of thing. And for the Woodland Feast, it is going to house the ceramic glass sculptures I've made, the egg, the salad bowl, water feature beaver dam thing, and the log. I wanted to take this opportunity to use this cabinet, not just only for this Woodland Feast, but later on I'm going to make it an outdoor cat sanctuary for my resident cat. One of the things about being an artist, if you are friends with an artist or if you are an artist yourself, then you probably are very familiar with making a bunch of things and then you're making and making because, you know, it's in you, you have to make things. But then what do you do with all the stuff afterwards? And in a perfect world, we can sell everything we make. But some of these items that I do make for these environments are not necessarily items I anticipate going into a gallery setting or is going to be sold. Whenever I can try to get a second use out of something, whether it is recycling materials, taking apart something I made and reusing it again, like the peanut where I took apart planters and reused the wood to create the peanut. Anytime I can upcycle, recycle, or redo things so that I can just keep my ideas flowing, keep the making process happen as a bonus. I'm not really hung up on all of these things I make needing to be sold, needing to go into a gallery. I make because it's in me to make and because I want to make. I want this buffet table to complete the environment of the Woodland Feast, but I want to have a second use for it. So I'm going to be making sure I weatherize it, and it is going to be easily converted to a cat sanctuary for our resident outdoor cat, Sly, so he can have somewhere to go in the winter, somewhere just to kind of hang out on really hot days that'll keep him cool. So a couple of the things I'm going to be doing to this piece are going to be overkill for something that would be in an indoor piece of furniture, but it's because I'm designing this piece to withstand rain, withstand weather, and whatnot. Lastly, I have had like this major thing with bridges lately. Bridges are kind of like doorways, like gateways, this idea of transitioning from one side to the other. It was part of an inspiration in my vision board, and I want to carry that theme through because when I think of the woods, when I think of being out in nature, there is this bridge in mind that I always see. It's just a very peaceful place. I have cut about 75% of the wood that I need for this project, and there are a couple unknowns that I have left to figure out as I go. You know, I have a very loose plan. It's me, right? I always am usually winging things, and so the plan I have is very loose. I literally have, you know, a really basic sketch that I sketched out of this thing. And as far as like the entire Woodland Feast, I also just have another random basic sketch. This is like the way that my mind does things. I just kind of sketch things out that I think, okay, this is how this is gonna go. Most of it I have in my head. Anyhow, I have pre-cut what I need for the basic shell, the wood that's sitting back there behind me. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble those pieces first. I will then need to take some measurements for the pitch of the roof because there's going to be a slant for the roof with an opening, and then also for the two sides. And the reason why I didn't cut those two sides is because I'm waiting to figure out the pitch on the roof. And I could spend some time doing a technical drawing to figure out what that angle is going to be, or I can assemble the parts that I have at 75% and then take a ruler and measure from one corner to the other and figure out what that number is going to be, which to me, in my world, that's a heck of a lot faster. I usually do pretty well getting by with just kind of winging it and making it up as I go, as long as I know the stopping points of where I'm gonna have to like go back and figure out more measurements. I've got 2x2 I'm using as my legs, and also because this stuff I bought is really thin, it's 3/8 inch thick plywood, I am going to also need some 1x to use as extra support to join the pieces together. The reason why I went with this thinner stuff is because, number one, plywood has gotten ridiculously expensive. It's more than like almost tripled in cost, and the quality has gotten worse. Somehow It's like the crappy sub-flooring grade that used to be like under 10 bucks is now the $60 stuff. And also I'm going to be sheathing this with some sidings. It's gonna gain its thickness because of that. Since the entire thing is getting encased in something else, I can build this pretty crudely. And so I am just going to be sinking in some screws and screwing the thing together. Alrighty, I have assembled my front piece here, and then I have also assembled the back piece behind me. And the next thing I'm going to do is start to put in the two boards that are going to connect these two together, the bottom and the middle. And the middle is going to be inside when the roof closes, like the desk area that it would be if this was a writing desk. Now, one of the things I did do though is I cut that piece because I want to have an opening. And so what's going to happen is on the very top where the writing desk area is, these two side pieces are going to be secure, and this middle piece will be an insert that is removable so that there's an access point to the bottom below. Truthfully, the only function for this is for when it gets turned into a cat hideaway, so that I can remove this piece and so that the cats can climb from the bottom up to the top and have another kind of like attic area to hide away in. I have a boy in a box. What is going on over there? Mommy does not want you pee-peeing on her ceramics. Come on, you can sit in there. Okay, I think these are the only bits that are in there. Oh, the smell of clay. I found him in the kiln yard at campus. That's how I originally came to have the little man. But the smell of anything clay triggers something in him. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling this. Realizing that I need to only attach the bottom because I won't be able to get the drill into the base. So let's get this over there, and I'm going to do this in the back because of the size, and I'm going to adjust the cameras. Alright, I have no idea what the heck happened the other day. My throat started like getting weird, like I was having some kind of allergic reaction. The Santa Anas have been really bad and crap blowing all over, so it could very well be general allergies. Today I'm feeling much better, but this is as far as I got the other day. I had to completely stop. I really had hoped that I would have gotten the shell completed on Monday, and today's Wednesday, but unfortunately because of all of that, I just had to like quit working and go inside. This is badly fitted, the centerpiece. I need to shave off a little bit of this so that I can get this wedged in here properly. I got a little bit of wonkiness as expected because I only assembled the two parts with the frames, the front and the back. I need to add in my braces underneath this piece and at the bottom. So I'm going to be cutting up some pieces for both sides, and then I can figure out what the angle is going to be for the roof. That is much more stable. It's nice and sturdy now. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and, before I forget, fix the middle insert there, and then I can take on this roof. This is gonna be hinged. It's gonna be hinged like this. So I need to determine the angle in here. I think I'm gonna put in a piece here first. That's going to give me a little flat positioning, and then I will determine this angle from there to there, and then can throw in my angle gauge. That's the plan. I hope that makes sense. I think it makes sense in my head. Yeah. So I'm going to just take this moment to remind you that woodworking tools are extremely dangerous, and you should not operate them if you are not fully trained and without reading the manual that comes with your machine and following proper safety precautions. So I repeat, woodworking machines are very dangerous, and you should not operate them if you are not trained. so close. And you know what? I'm gonna do this the jacked up way. And I don't care. It'll all be pretty in the end. If I sneak these under here. I planned this gap because I wanted to have a piece that was going to be stationary, particularly since this is going to function as a cat hideaway later. I want the rain to be able to roll off of it and it not be an issue. Once I get the shingles on, this shingle will have a kind of a layover on top of where this piece was. So I'm gonna apply this piece here. I went ahead and ripped it at a 40-degree angle so that it matches this slope. Yes, Bubba, I'm all done with making noises on the machines. You can sit down now. He's been angry with me and waiting for his machine. Well, waiting for his chair, waiting for me to stop making noise with the machines. All right, so, come on now. This is like when I start wishing I had multiple hands. You know, more than two hands. I already have multiple. I'm gonna go ahead and put in something that architecturally looks like it's part of the bridge, that are brackets in 3 points, one in the center and 2 on the ends, and that'll just provide somewhere for this to rest on. This is gonna go on here, and I need to cut this angle. I think what I'm gonna do is gonna screw this side on, strike my angle. I'll just put in a couple screws just to get it in place. Take the measurement of the angle, unscrew it, go cut the piece, and then be good to go. I got my knee wedged up, trying to hold this thing. It's quite ridiculous. I'm gonna move the camera so you can see how ridiculous it is. This is like a really hard to film piece because it's so awkward and it's hard to like position the camera in the right place. And the studio is kind of small. Yeah, there's also that problem. I assure you this studio looks much larger on film than it actually is. It is only a garage. All right. Now I can unscrew it and I can cut that piece. I'm probably just gonna do that on the bandsaw. Apparently I was irritated and bought a new gun from that last time I've used one and the mishap. I just grabbed some black sealant and I'm gonna go into any areas that have gaps from where I've joined the woods and pump in some sealant. I'm gonna avoid this area because this is the part that's gonna open, but I'm gonna try and get into the seam lines. I'm then gonna go out over there away from the sleeping cat that's sitting here next to me and grind off the screws from the piano hinges that were too high. I was too lazy to go purchase new screws, and I also didn't want to pay for new screws. There's only about 1/8 of an inch sticking up on each of the screws. I'm just gonna grind them down so that it's flush before I start applying this roofing fleece. So I got a roll of roofing fleece. I bought some stainless steel staples. I'm gonna use it to tack on the fleece. Alright, so here's where I'm at. I realized that this rounder stuff is a little less bridge-like and a little more house-like. Once it's painted out black, it's going to be hardly noticeable. I am going to stick with using these popsicle sticks for the base of this cladding. Because I was trying to stick on budget, I went with a 3/8 inch plywood, and then 3/8 inch plywood plus the thickness of this only brings me up to just under a 1/2 inch, and they do not make 1/2 inch or under 1/2 inch brads. So that leaves me with staples as far as tacking these on. I don't trust just glue. Glue for some of them is what I did for these top pieces, but I don't want to rely on just gluing, particularly because of this paper. This is that fleece, it's asphalt fleece paper, and I'm not sure over time what that's going to be as far as like just gluing things directly to it. I don't feel secure in that. I feel much more secure in the idea of tacking it on with something. So the only thing that leaves me with is some stainless steel staples, because the staples I was able to get in 1/4 of an inch. Because of that, I'm going to want to hide the staples as I've been doing for the roof. I'm going to stick with these popsicle sticks, use the staples, but I will be shaving this off. I'm going to stack them up in big bundles and then cut off the rounds so they'll be like this shorter stack and it'll look more like that. I will section this off so that this looks like the top half of like an open bridge. Maybe put in some kind of wood or something to make it look a little bit more like open windows part of the bridge. But that's my plan. I have a ton of these popsicle sticks, mixing sticks, that I ordered from Home Depot when I was working on the Victorian house behind me, the baby girl's house. I ended up ordering way more than I need, so I have them, so I might as well use them. I gave this a nice ledge. I put in square stock that I glued on. I did not trust just the glue again, so I went in with some of that leftover silicone and plugged in some silicone up through under it and then on top of it, and then I also put this 1/4 rounds on here. I made some porcelain crows that I'm going to sit on this ledge. I was bored. I was firing a kiln, working on another sculpture on campus, and while I was watching my kiln, I had some time, so I made some little crows that are going to go on here. I'll throw up a picture. Even though they're meant to be crows, I think I like the contrast of leaving them plain porcelain. That's where it is right now. I am gonna throw on some headphones. It is Saturday, so I am trying to talk quickly because usually weekends get really noisy around here. I'm just gonna throw headphones on and get to work and go to town cladding this thing and see what happens. This has taken a ridiculously long time to get all of the cladding on. I'm at that point in the process where like it's driving me crazy, and because it is taking forever, I'm sick of looking at it and I'm moving extra slow because it's taking forever, and therefore it's just this endless cycle, and it's even taking even longer because I want it over with already. I'm really happy with the aesthetic of what the cladding looks like. I hit the top with some brown because I was not liking the black. I feel like because the color scheme of Woodland Feast is more natural tone, it has more of an earthy hue, the black was just clashing too much for my liking. I'm gonna put in a molding around this window. The reason why this is taking forever is I do this in stages so that I don't have to go back in the paint, because careful painting takes even longer. I'm trying to paint up sections. I apply the next layer. I don't have to worry about messy painting, but it takes a little bit of planning where I'm not just whacking everything on and then painting it all after. It seems like it takes longer this way, but in essence it actually doesn't. And here goes another loud airplane. Come on, Bubba, your chair is here. I'm gonna sit. Alright, so I am gonna make the 3 brackets next. Go ahead. And then I will mark out where those 3 brackets are gonna go so I can finish the cladding. Alright y'all, I gotta be honest, this is like pretty awful to me. This is absolutely horrendous looking. So I cannot leave the color this way. I just made a run to Home Depot and bought up a whole bunch of paint using a Christmas tree as my color palette. So I'm going to be repainting this. This is just not at all fitting with the color scheme. This green is just so awful. It's like mint green. This is like mint chocolate ice cream. And that's like the worst flavor in my opinion. It's not my favorite flavor of ice cream. Yeah. So this is gonna get done today because I just can't deal. This is just not working out. My color palette has changed to this. I have purchased 5 colors. The trim will be the off-white color. Let's get you up here. So this off-white color, that's gonna be the trim. And then I have these 2 medium browns that are both, interesting enough, labeled copper. So I have a timeless copper and true copper. These 2 will be the down cladding. So I'm gonna go with one dominant color, and then I think I will just give a bit of a dry brush of a little bit of an accent of the lighter, softer version color over the top of it. And then I'm gonna do the same technique for the roof parts, the other parts of the brown, with these 2 varying shades of brown. That is hopefully going to be a lot better than this nastiness that's happening now. I did cut some pieces of molding that are gonna sit at an angle, just a strip of wood, so that if the rain does come down, it'll be a buffer and can kind of just wash off the side. Alright, moving on to the roof, but I just wanted to point out that these are an awesome deal, even for craft projects. Before you go heading off to your craft store to buy acrylic paints, you might want to think about picking up this instead, because this was under $5. You can get them to color match any color that you want, and it's really good quality. It comes in different sheens. You can get it in flat all the way up to a high gloss, depending on your local Home Depot. I got this at Home Depot, but I'm pretty sure that Lowe's and other hardware stores that mix paint also have samples now. Anyway, something to think about. Yeah, I am like so much happier with this color match. This is way more on point with the rest of this environment, and this is going to do exactly what I wanted it to. Happiness. I did a good job matching that color. Alright y'all, I have finished up the brand new paint job, got on all of my pieces. The inside here is going to be where we put in some kind of mat or something, so I left that bare and it's a little bit raw, but it will be covered up with the mat that eventually goes into it. I added on these brackets here so that when this buffet opens up and any pressure is put on here, that provides some extra support. I'm going to be stitching quilted square tablecloth that's going to go sit inside of here, and it's going to be primarily green tones with a bit of brown thrown in here and there. That's going to pretty much cover most of this surface. Inside here, this panel does come up. It is a lift away, and this is removable so that when it is converted to a hideaway for Sly, he can come up into the top here, jump up in here, and he will have a concealed area to kind of hide away in its function as a buffet. The very last thing I did want to add to them, I made a murder of crows. I love these little murder of crows. Originally, I wanted to have these crows hanging out here. I don't trust the stability of this strip. I'm gonna put these guys up here. And there they are. I really enjoy them staying in the white with the contrast. So there you have it. I'm gonna leave this video here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so already, and stick around to watch this Woodland Feast come together.